Hi, Carla. Okay, so you should be able to log in uinmind.org/secure/login. And this is what you see. Okay, so this is a really good example. We've got an ability on the system for people to upload their services, and then we have to create services off the back of that. So I'm just going to ignore that for the moment because that could confuse us. So if you are going to create a new service, what I always do is go to click organizations and create a new organization. So there's two things. There's the organization that delivers the service, for example, Cheshire Without Abuse, that's the organisation, and then there's the service itself. So the service itself might be therapy, might be clubs, might be counselling. That's a service and an organisation. They're two separate things, but one can't happen without the other. So both things need to go on. So I always start with the organisation. You can create new. Let's just stick with a physical location for now. So is a head office. So this is like CWA, Cheshire Without Abuse, their main office. And then what you do is you go down and put the details in, okay? So name, phone number, their address. The key thing you absolutely need to have is the postcode, the address, line 1, the town. Actually, do you know what? Just put it all in. A description is a description of what the organisation is and an excerpt, and then ideally the client's, the organisation's logo as well, and goes into image. Then you click save down at the bottom. Save down there. Okay. So when you have an organisation listing, it looks like this. So let's just say Age Cheshire, Cheshire UK. So when you've created it, it looks like this. All right. And what you can see here is these are services that have been attached to Age UK. So what I'm going to do is go in and create some services. So if I go to services and I create a physical service and create new, so that you're creating a service. So you create the organisation and you create the service separately to one another. So you enter all the information about the service, the age range. Normally I put, if it's over 16 or under 16, so you'll see the age range here. I would suggest, Carly, you just play around with it. The description of the service. So in here, you don't need to add the time and the date. And you don't need to add the location. You just need to add some information about it. There's a separate place for the time and date. That's really important. So description and an excerpt. And you can also add a logo as well. So either I add the client, the organisation's logo, or there might be a separate logo for the service. It's not very often there is a separate logo for the service. Okay, so this is now the list of services. So if I go to Autism Network's Stay and Play session, I'm going to go to View. So when you've click Save on your service, this is what you then see. So I've got a description of the service, and this is where I add the time and date of the service. So I can enter the time, I can enter the date, I can enter the time, and I can enter the cost. A lot of them are free, so I can enter the cost. I then have to, as you scroll further down within the service, you then choose the conditions that it relates to, so anxiety, depression, perinatal, and so on. The type of support that it is, so professional support, community groups, events, and whether it's council funded, NHS funded, private or charity. You can then add the contact details. So what I suggest is that you go to add contact details, you go into contacts, and you create a new contact. So you kind of have to, it's like sewing, you kind of have to sew all of these things together. You make them all separately and then you stitch them all together. So you create a contact, and this is pretty self-explanatory, the contact, first name, surname, email address and phone number, that's it. And then what you'll do is you'll go back into your service and you'll attach the contact details into the service. So if I go back into this one, you can see that I add the contact details. As I start to search it, it will come up, and then you press save. So you can add the contact details. The same with the location. You go to the locations in here, you create the location, and then you attach the location to that service. The key thing to note is that you need to publish. So these are all published already. So if I click unpublish, that's unpublish them. You need to click publish for the service, and you need to click publish for the organisation. So in a world where you've created the organisation, and you've created the service, you now need to attach the two. So what you do is you go and find the organisation, and oh look, it's kicked. I think it's kicked me out. Yeah, it has. Okay, this is what I said on the phone that might happen sometimes. So you find the organisation, go to Age UK and click View, and then here you can find services, and you basically. So let's see if I've got. Let's see if there's anything that I could add. So Citizens Advice Service or 10,000 Steps, there you go. If that was appropriate, I would click Save. And because I've published it already, it would, and I've published the organisation, if I attach the service, it would be, it will join this list basically. So key thing to note is make sure you publish them, publish the organisation, publish the service, make sure the postcode is included and the service. So if I go back into services here, the services have got conditions and types and sectors associated against them. If they don't have this, or if they don't have all of these elements, they won't appear in the search results. Okay. Give it a go, see how you get on. And then for now, I'll deal with these. Don't worry about that. Okay.